Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's presentation. Today, we're going to talk about how to crack the code, how to create consistent clients via conversion events and collaborations. I'm super excited to get started with all of you today because what we have to talk about is so important in terms of creating lead generation consistently over time. So let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about today is what can we do differently that has not been done so much in the past? We all know that up until more recent years, rural marketing was the way to go. And for many, it still is. But let's remember that there's power in relationship marketing. So, number one, if you look at the traditional model of marketing, think of it like that car salesman that you just cringe at when you walk in to buy your car. If you're anything like me, you're going to bring someone who's a good negotiator, who doesn't fall for BS and isn't roped into something they don't want to do. But with traditional marketing, as there is pitching involved, there is cold DMs, ugh. And I don't know about you, but do you get those pitches all the time? For me, it's that classic, I have 2 tickets just set aside, one for you to come to this mastermind, blah, blah, blah. And it's always the same script. Gross. There's endless ads and sleazy tactics and pressure. Anybody in the room, have you ever gone to a timeshare presentation? I have never felt more like I was going to explode in my life. Being caught in a pressure cooker is the worst. And of course, there's a focus in traditional marketing on numbers, not so much on people, human beings, but numbers, meeting the quota, getting those dollars in the bank, really being so focused on those things as opposed to human experience. So today I'm going to be talking about the power of relationship marketing because it really comes back to being human and caring. So really it's about serving, establishing trust, genuine care for others as genuine. And I'm not talking about I care about you as long as you give me money to put in the bank. No, it's a genuine care for people, adding value wherever you can, creating connections, being in powerful enough relationships that referrals are amazing, and of course, creating loyal clients. As we're going to go through today's training, I want you to think about where in your business can you really move away from the traditional model into this relationship marketing model that really is the future of business, especially business online. So here is what I have noticed. So number one, finding high quality leads, especially if you run an online business, can be really challenging. And let's be real, people don't necessarily know or trust you yet. How could they? Because really, number three, you haven't demonstrated authority or shown them exactly how you, specifically you, can help them. The thing is, you don't have a way to move your ideal clients from interested to invested, or you may have strategies or things that you put in place that have worked to some degree. But I want to talk today about this gap in the marketplace. If this gap is not addressed, then you and other business owners will stay in this endless loop of hustling on social media, settling for random lead generation tactics, throwing spaghetti against the wall. Something's got to stick, right? Struggling to close sales. Because I don't know if you've been paying attention, but for me, what I've noticed, and I've been in business for, gosh, 14 years now, what I've noticed is that what worked even 10 years ago, putting up a really crazy, awesome copy sales page, used to work. But nowadays, they don't work so much anymore, unless, of course, you're Tony Robbins or someone that everybody already knows and trusts. The truth of the matter is, we cannot sell in the same fashion. So there is a solution. And it really is about eliminating the stranger danger factor that let's be real, we all grew up with this. We need to build a bridge. And that bridge is all about bringing our ideal clients from stranger danger to I'm ready to buy. Let's dive in and look at this, what this means. I call this the no-brainer business formula. This is the way to get across. So you have your leads that are cold, They don't know you. They might have seen a post. They might have heard about you in the grapevine, but in reality, they don't know you yet. So you need a bridge to get them to the other side, which is where they're ready to buy. They're your paying clients. This is where we create the warm audience. This is the key. If you get nothing else from today's training, please remember this formula. Virtual events is something that I'm passionate about because they give your audience an experience of your expertise. And strategic collaboration multiply your reach and your credibility. So today's training is how do we bridge these things together? Because together they do create a predictable flow of leads, engagement, and sales. But I really want to break this down for you today. I want to talk to you about virtual events, and we'll start there because I want to show you where they work, why they work, but also where they fall short, which is a reality that I think not enough people are talking about. So why virtual events, right? What's the point, Katie? I want you to imagine this. You've just moved to a brand new city and you don't know anyone. You're ready to build your new community. You want to make some friends. Obviously, you want to find people who align with your interest and your values. Now, think about how you would go about doing that. Option one, you could be like my friends on the screen here, awkward, desperate, be in desperate energy. Just pick up that old phone book and scroll and pick a random number, call that number and say, "Oh, hi, my name is Katie. I just moved into the neighborhood and I thought we could be friends." Who does that? Maybe these guys do. Or maybe really weird people that have no sense of social etiquette, they might do that. The truth of the matter is, so many people are doing that in business. They're picking up that phone, they're pitching cold DMs, hoping it's almost like somewhere it's like winning the lottery. Someone will answer me, someone will be my friend. It's awkward, it's not really appropriate, and it doesn't work. So let's talk about option number two, which obviously works a lot better. So, all right, how do I find the people that I'm going to resonate with? I'll attend maybe a local networking event, maybe a fun workshop or a book club, any kind of social gathering where you're going to meet people inevitably and have deeper, meaningful conversations with the people that share the interests that you do. This is an opportunity at this said event for people to get to know you, to learn about who you are, how you talk, what you're passionate about. And of course, let's remember it's a two-way street. You'll be learning about them, and quickly you'll find out who you vibe with. So which of these two options do you think is more feasible? I would venture to say option number two. Enter the reason virtual events are so powerful because they build trust. They build trust with the people that may potentially buy from you. They build trust and they build faster connection because it involves real human interaction that's not weird, right? So this is why hosting a virtual event is a must-have for client attraction. So your ideal clients, if you think of it this way, are just like those new friends. They don't necessarily know you really well yet. They've maybe seen your posts, they've followed you for a while, but they're still not sure if they trust you. A virtual event is the bridge. It brings together the opportunity for them to experience you in action. They get to hear your voice, ask questions, and of course, feel your energy. You're no longer just a face on social media anymore. You're now someone that they've actually connected with, they've learned something from, and they've begun to trust you to help solve their problem. The best part of all this, after the event, when you make an offer, if you do, because let's be real, not everybody that attends your event is going to buy from you, but you're certainly going to be bringing people who are more likely to buy from you. And they're far more likely to say yes if they've had the opportunity to really get to know you and like you and trust you first. Now, I'm going to go and talk to you next about the problem, okay? I talked about virtual events, why they're so amazing, but the truth is there's still an issue that we need to talk about. I see this all of the time. It's called empty room syndrome, right? It's discouraging, it's incredibly deflating, especially if you spent a good amount of time, energy, money pulling it together. So if you're anything like me and you felt like nothing works, clearly you're not cut out for this, I should just give up. Let's quit this. It's not worth it. Because what happens is you either have no shows or you have a small amount of people in the room, which by the way, you could still serve 1 to 2 people. Don't ever devalue the people that do attend, by the way. But what you might also notice, which I did for many years, is it was the same people coming over and over again, but they were what we call tire kickers. They loved free stuff. They had no intention of moving forward. As long as they were getting value for free, they kept showing up. How do we avoid this from happening or certainly improve the situation? I've got good news and bad news for you. And let's dive into each of these because I think this will give you the perspective needed to create a strategy around virtual events and collaborations that will actually stick. Hello, funnel. Everybody knows what a funnel is, and if you don't, you will certainly learn today. No matter how amazing you might be at your craft, your efforts alone are not necessarily going to be enough. The good news is you're not the problem. The strategy is the problem. So let's explore the bad news first. So this is where I tell people brace yourselves, because if you've had disappointing turnouts for different events, this is why. So let's get into it. Who here is ready for some math? Yes, there's science involved too. Sorry, not sorry. Both subjects were not my favorite in high school, so the irony here is thick. So feel free to jot down any numbers that apply to you as I walk through this scenario. The numbers I'm sharing today are hypothetical, and there are other variables to consider, and I'll make sure to talk about those. So remember, at the top of the funnel, this is who's seeing your promotion for an event. Let's go with that. You're having a workshop, and this is all the people that see the event being promoted. Let's see if you have an email list size of 500 people, okay? We've got to remember too that even if you have a list size of 500 people, typically 25% is a good open rate. Sometimes less, sometimes more, really depends. But we're going with 25% because that's considered good. Higher is better, but 25% is pretty good. Now, out of those 500 people that get your email, 125 people will actually open that email. Now, this is where it gets a bit tricky because we have something called the click-through rate. The click-through rate is the people who actually click on the link in your email. So if you have a link to a landing page for your event coming up, only 3 to 6, that's 2 to 5% of the 125 people that actually open your email are actually going to click on that link. Let's remember too that some people have a higher engagement rate. Some people have an engagement rate of, say, somewhere as high as 60, 70%. And perhaps you have a smaller list, but a higher engagement rate. So really, there's just lots of variables to consider. But again, we're sticking to general hypothetical numbers here to keep this really simple. Let's imagine you have 1,000 followers on social media and you put up a post. And out of that 1,000, only 1% will actually click on the link that you provide, which equals 10 people. Remember too, that what we're talking about here in this scenario is one email and one post. So we have to remember, obviously, where you're promoting an event, you're going to have multiple emails and multiple social media posts. But when you average it all out, these numbers still do apply. Now we're going to talk about the actual landing page itself. We've invited people on the email list and on social media to come and check out this landing page. So let's see what happens when they get here. So first of all, 13 to 16 people, we added that 10 plus 3.3 to 6. So 13 to 16 people actually end up on your landing page from these numbers. Now, what we got to be realistic about is 30 to 40% will actually click to say yes. Right? Those are the numbers you can expect to be good average. 30 to 40% of the people that land on that page will actually click the link to say, yes, I'm in. That's just the facts. Now, what we have to consider next is out of the people that actually register, let's look at this, it's 4 to 6 people out of the 13 to 16, right? 4 to 6 people say, yep, I'll be there. I'm in. This is where it gets a little disheartening. I'll warn you. 30% of those people will actually show up. Bummer, right? So let's look at the numbers now. You have 1.2 to 1.8 people that will be in the room with you. I don't know how 1.2 people exist or 1.8, but let's just say 1 to 2 people may show up and be with you on the presentation. I said earlier, and I'll repeat it now, that you could still serve 1 to 2 people, and you could potentially still have a great conversation. You could still even have a closed sale by the end of the call. But let's look at the sales numbers, the conversion. So 30% of people who actually show up in a room will actually buy. All right. So what does that equal? We bring it down to 0 to 1. So for anyone who has wondered, what is wrong with me? Why can't I get people to buy from me? And you're trying virtual events and they're not working. This is why, right? I share this with you not to discourage you. I know that when I was fighting with this voice in my head telling me it was something to do with me, I got very deflated, discouraged, and I really did want to throw in the towel and say, forget it. It's not even worth it. And I had an email list size of 200. Trust me when I say that it's not you. It's a numbers game. It really is. And at the same time, we must value the people who do show up always. So let's move on. This is where I really want to talk about the power, the non-negotiable value of collaborations. Collaborations multiply your reach and your credibility. It means that you are instantly positioned as an authority when you collaborate. When you do collaborations, you are not starting from scratch. You're actually leveraging the audiences of those who are already engaged, right? And with better attendance and better conversion rates, collaborations allow for really more people, more trust, more sales. So we just walked through what a solo virtual event looks like when you're doing it alone and starting out. The struggle is real, right? In reality, it's deflating. With a strategic collaboration, however, we can see those numbers improve. So let's take a look. So with the power of collaboration, we create a win scenario. You have, this is you, by the way. It's a great photo of you, I know. You have a smaller email list or perhaps low engagement, and you're tired of hustling on social media. How many DMs can you possibly send out without wanting to lose your mind? Or maybe you have already, not sure. The answer is collaboration. Each collaborator that you bring in for a set event has a larger list than you. Some will say you should only go for people who have an email list size of 5,000 plus. Honestly, when you're starting out, even 2,000, but 2,500 or more people on their list will serve you. Out of that, what you're going to discover is your reach will increase 6 times. Your speakers and collaborators will all have varying list sizes, engagement levels, and social media presence, but you're borrowing the reach from them. And that alone is what can create powerful results. So let's keep this really simple. Let's go with a conservative number here and say that between all of those speakers, 2,500 on a list for times 5, plus your 500, we're looking at a list size or a combined total of approximately 13,000 people. We know already that 25% will open. Some speakers will have a higher engagement rate than that. Some may not. Some might have an even lower rate than that. But ultimately, if we round it out, we're looking at about 3,250 people. Don't forget about the click-through rate. These are the ones that are going to click on the link and actually check out what you have to offer. So in this scenario, that's between 65 to 163 people. Now let's imagine the combined total of social media following of yourself plus these 5 speakers equals 16,000. At 1%, we know that's going to work out to 160 people, roughly. So let's keep going with the math on this one. We know that those numbers will convert to, because let's remember that the landing page rate could be 30%. So we added the numbers above, 160 plus 65 is 225, to 323 people to get an average number of people that will land on the landing page. What we remember from before, a good conversion rate on a landing page, 30%. It really should be 30% or higher is ideal. That brings us to 68 to 97 people. Out of those 68 to 97, what do we know from before? We know that 30% of those people will actually be in the room with you, which brings us to 20 to 29 people in the room, which is pretty good, right? Now, 20% of those people will likely buy from you. I want to point out a few things to really wrap up this picture. Number one, you cannot be all things to all people. This event will actually showcase others that might be better suited for certain people at different stages of their journey, depending on the topic you're talking about. The speakers are participating because they have an opportunity to gain leads by providing their own lead magnet, something that the audience can opt into. That's free, that puts them on their list, and it warms that relationship. All of the people in the room are benefiting from the combination of those 6 speakers, and yet you are the host. You are the one that is compiling the list size by being the host, which is a benefit to you. Now, collaborators, this is another thing I love, and this is coming from 7 summits that I've done myself over a 2.5-year period, but also having done countless workshops and masterclasses and webinars and challenges, and the list goes on and on. Collaborations have been the best and most powerful asset in my business, hands down. Collaborations grow like compound interest in a good way. The more you work with people, the more you attract people like the people you attract yourself to. So really, your circle gets bigger and better all of the time. And that creates a win all around, as long as you can find your alignment and work well with people who are aligned with you, not just in terms of their values and what they stand for, but you also want to make sure that their audience is aligned with who you're looking for as well. If I was to host a collaborative event and bring on, say, someone who talks about dog training, for instance, it's not necessarily, I have nothing against dog training, but it has nothing to do with what I'm teaching and therefore doesn't align. So you really want to be thinking about who has my audience that I can really collaborate with and share and create a win. There are also opportunities here for affiliates, commissions. So for example, let's say this was an event I was to host, and at the end of the event, I sell 4 to 6 service contracts for $5,000 a pop, right? I can still offer 5 to 10% commission to my speakers because they contributed to bringing these people in the room, and I would still do very well. So there's so much beauty in this, in really leveraging the power of collaboration, building really strong relationships and networks that are going to boost your business by default. So there's a huge difference, and I hope you can see it here, between just going solo and collaborating with others like you. Here's something else I want to say about all of this. The truth is, you actually need both. If you do virtual events all by themselves, you already saw that it can be hard to fill seats, that you as one person will have a limited reach. And yet, if you do collaborations without the careful strategy and intention behind it, it can be random, and no clear structure can mean no conversion. You've got to be clear and you've got to be aligned. So I know, having done a few summits early on, I wasn't really sure what I was doing, if I'm honest with you. But what I did learn by doing it the wrong way was I aligned with speakers. There was nothing wrong with the speakers necessarily. It's just that I was attracting the wrong audience because I was just trying to figure it out as I went, which I think we all need to do to some degree. Now, if you marry virtual events and strategic collaborations together, and you can see this in the illustration here, is you might have a solo event every month, and then you would bring in once a quarter a collaborative event. And really what you're doing is you're funneling in more leads to fill your virtual events. Super powerful and really important strategy. And there's never anything to lose by increasing your collaborative network, because you're going to continue to grow and continue to bring in higher quality, higher caliber, just amazing humans, both in terms of collaborators, but also the people they bring with them. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of our training today. Here's the thing you need to know. Hosting virtual events, whether by yourself or as a collaborative, number one, you need to know your offer. You need to know your message to market, and it needs to be clear. It's very difficult to build an event without legs to stand on. So make sure that if you're considering moving forward, that you have those things dialed in. Also, it's ideal if you've been in business for at least a year, if not more, just to give you the time to learn the lessons required to know your clients or customers and to be able to benefit from this type of strategy. And of course, if you're looking to move forward, it's important that you be open to making the investment. That requires time, a lot of effort, money, and it's going to take some growth on your part to be able to pull off this kind of strategy. And it's a good kind of growth and conditioning that comes out of something like this. So if all of that resonates and works well with you, then we can certainly move forward. I really hope that this training video has demonstrated for you what is actually possible. And if you are in the right place at the right time, then this could be the perfect next move for you. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the other side.